ESPN. Welcome to the Verizon Arena in North Little Rock, Arkansas, the site of the 2016 SEC Gymnastics Championship. And boy, are we excited about our wall-to-wall coverage today. All four apparatus going on at the same time. So go online. You can go to Watch ESPN or use the ESPN app to watch all of the action of each of your favorite schools. Now, if you're a college gymnastics fan, man, you are in the right place. So make sure you customize your viewing experience on a second screen. Now, the teams are competing in two separate sessions based on their regular season rankings. The first of these sessions includes 16-time SEC champs Georgia, Arkansas, Missouri, and Kentucky. The second session, later at 6 p.m. Eastern, on the SEC Network, features 4 top seeds, including 4 of the top 6 teams in the country. And man, are we excited. I'm Bart Connor along with Kathy Johnson-Clark. We talk about the excitement, the bragging rights on the line here at this SEC Championship. So what's going through the minds of these athletes as we get set to go, Kathy?
It may have been a million years ago, but you and I know this feeling. There is so much adrenaline in this arena that you could bottle it and sell it to anyone who wants to do big things or conquer the world. And that's what they have to do. They have to channel that pressure, be hyper-focused, but have fun and trust their training. It's going to be great.
Okay, well, parity reigns in the SEC. Now take a look at the athletes and the teams in this session. Georgia defeated Florida and LSU this year. Arkansas had huge wins over Alabama and Auburn. Then Missouri got their first SEC win in history, and they beat Georgia, of all things. And then, of course, Kentucky defeated Missouri. So all of these teams have a shot at a championship today, and boy, is it going to be fun. The rules are this: 6 gymnasts per team on each apparatus. Top 5 scores will count towards their team totals. And as we mentioned, it is a 4-ring circus. Kiara Glover will be our first performer on bars for Arkansas. She is a senior with a fascinating story. Boy, here's a young lady with 2013 SEC all-freshman team. And then after that season, found out she had an aneurysm in her heart, had heart surgery, and she has been an inspirational leader for this team. Competed in 27 of the last 28 meets.
Arkansas has been a little inconsistent on this event, but when they hit, if they will just relax and go after these handstands and release moves, they can do well here.
See Mark Cook, who is the head coach at Arkansas in his 14th season. He initiated the program in his first year.
Very nice work on the handstands and a stuck dismount to start it off for Arkansas. Very well done.
University of Georgia, 16 times they've won the SEC championships. 10 times they've won the NCAA. Lauren Johnson, also an inspirational story. How about this? She missed part of the season. She was out. Kathy, you want to explain more?
She's actually vaulted in the last 4 meets for Georgia and has stepped up big. So it'll be interesting to see how she handles the pressure in this major competition.
She had a torn ACL in 2015, so coming back strong to have her back in the lineup is important for Georgia.
Oh, thought she almost missed the position onto the table, had an angle in the shoulder. She managed to get the block and set up the full twist pretty well.
You see our scoring graphic in the bottom right of your screen. We will update the scores and keep you posted on the 4 events going simultaneously. See the score there on vault, a 9-8. Allison Bauer, the freshman from Mesa, Arizona, will be up for Missouri. This is Missouri's 4th year in the SEC.
Tia Albritton started off for Missouri on balance beam. We're waiting for the score from the judges.
One thing that's a little bit different about this meet than other regular season meets is this is the first meet of the year where there's actually 4 judges. High and low scores are thrown out, and they average the 2 scores in the middle. So this is new for the judges as well. It's typical of the postseason, but not for the regular season.
They open their rotation with a 9.75 from Albritton. Up, little balance check there. That's just a nervous error. Really need to see them aggressively attack every landing, especially when there's the heightened nerves inevitable in a championship situation.
Missouri has done quite well in the last few meets of the season, 196, 625 or higher in the last 3 meets. So they have been building towards this moment.
Need to show a little bit more amplitude and more full split on those split jumps. The judges are going to be extra critical in postseason. They have to be. Oh, balance break there. Managed to stay on the balance beam. Of course, a fall would be 0.5 of a point. But all of these balance checks and little errors will add up a little bit. But a hit routine for the second slot for Missouri.
Casey Joe McPherson, the assistant coach there, former standout at Arkansas, in charge of the beam rotations there. Shannon Welker down there on the floor in his 3rd season at Missouri, doing a fine job.
Georgia has pretty good scores coming into this. Opens with a 9-8 from Ashlyn Broussard. Here is Sydney Sneed with a very, very high Yurchenko full. They'll hit her a little bit on that hop on the landing and slight pike in the air, but big air. That's the first thing the judges are looking for, the dynamics of this vault.
Aaron Freer, the senior from Westland, Michigan, set to go on bars for Arkansas.
Now here's a gymnast who fulfills a requirement on the uneven bars. It's new this year, the up to the level deduction they want to avoid by doing a single bar release, a big release move, or they can do 2 release moves within the bar routine of D value, and that's what Aaron does. She'll open the routine with a toe on Shaposh. That's a transition from the low bar up to the high bar.
Got a lot of senior leadership at Arkansas. 7 of the 24 spots in the lineup come from seniors. Mark Cook told us he's very excited about 5 freshmen coming in next year to rebuild.
Here's the combination, up to the high bar. Now she'll transition back to the low bar with the release. After this toe on handstand. Tour bail, almost hit a handstand, slightly off on that. Nice cast handstand for the end of the routine. They're staying so calm, taking their time on this event. Oops, slung that out a little bit, so she had to take a hop. But I'm sure she's happy with that, as is Mark Cook, their head coach.
Just moments ago, Brittany Rogers for Georgia on the vault. As we mentioned, 4 events going simultaneously.
And Bart, we saw her nail one of these in workout yesterday. It's a 1.5 twist, worth a 10.0.
Oh,
Start
nice.
value, excellent work on that event. Just a very, very slight hop on the landing, but very clean in the air. And since they've devalued the Yurchenko full, it is an advantage when you can do this vault. 1.5 twist, lands facing away from the table. She almost got the stick. She brought her arms forward a little bit, and it forced her to hop.
Georgia is superb on the vault, ranked 2nd in the country. Brandy J set to go. Laura?
Well, Georgia is really coming into this meet with a fire about them. They said it's not about what session they're in. It's more about everything that they can do and sticking everything, focusing on the details.
Wow, look at
what
that.
a hit.
You nailed it, Laura Rutledge. She really went after the stick, and this is a gymnast who has such cat-like ability in the air. She is phenomenally kinesthetically aware, knows where she is, knows where the ground is, and just nailed the landing.
That is spectacular. The senior out of Fort Collins, Colorado, typically in the anchor position. Superb. Back over to Arkansas on the bar. Amanda Wellick, the junior from Wheaton, Illinois.
Look at the gorgeous straight line on those handstands. She is so improved on this event.
2015 All-SEC team. Beautiful.
Beautiful work. Now watch this new dismount. She has a new cue word going into it. It's, oh yeah.
Okay.
She almost got the stick. Those are harder to land. Double front dismount.
Arkansas is a pretty balanced team on all 4 events in the top 15 in the country. Their best finish in the SEC was 4th back in 2011. Becca Schugel for Missouri will be set to go on the beam.
Now remember, each team can drop a low score So far, Missouri has a 9.75, a 9.625 from Allison Bauer. And a 9.85 from Morgan Porter. They really want to drop that 9.625 if possible. Beautiful 3-element series. That's something the judges are looking for, just a little bit more difficulty.
Shugel, a very balanced gymnast, typically can score 9.8 or 9.9 on all 4 events.
Just a little bit of amplitude and full split on those leaps, particularly the second leap in the series.
Talk about an improved team. In 2014, they were ranked 41st in the NCAA. They moved up to their current ranking of 20th in the country. So Shannon Welker doing a nice job growing this program.
Gainer full off the side, very well done. I really think it has helped them moving into the SEC. It's challenged them to greater heights.
Bars, Bree Speed, sophomore from San Antonio, Texas.
She has some nice combinations. Beautiful height on that Jaeger front. Watch this skill right here. The combination toe on hand to the bail to low bar. Now she jumps way over to the side on that high bar because she wants to do a full pirouette which travels on that bar, sets her up in the middle, right into the dismount. Very cool how she jumped over to the side to set up that giant full into the dismount. Nice upgrade that really raises the value of that normally simple dismount by doing the full pirouette in front of it.
Good to see her back in the lineup. She suffered a knee injury before the 2015 season, so contributing on vault and bars for the Razorbacks this year. Now let's go down to Laura Rutledge.
Well, Bart, there's so many differences for these gymnasts when the apparatus are on podium, and the SEC is the only conference that has their championships on podium. Some of the equipment is shakier, beam and bars being 2 of those. They said you have to be more patient, especially in handstands and releases on bars. On vault, you might start to run a little further back, and then on floor, it's easier on your body, but it is springier, so you have to watch out for staying in bounds. They did say if you're a visual person, this could be confusing for you because everything's set up completely differently.
That's a good point, Laura. The podium is what they use at the World Championships, the Olympics, the major national competitions. So it's a luxury that the SEC gets to use a podium in their conference championship because all the athletes in the country in a few weeks at the NCAA championship will compete on a podium. And it just changes the dynamics, everything, doesn't it, Kat?
Absolutely. It elevates the stage. It is truly like being on stage. Missouri has actually come back very, very well. They had a little problem on their second routine, not a fall, just a few wobbles. So if they can build with these final 2 routines, they will have a solid rotation on beam. Nice too
no.
bad. It was a good combination. The cat leap into the side aerial. Hard to say whether she was just completely off center in the skill or just didn't trust the landing enough to go aggressively.
A missed opportunity for Shauna Miller, who is normally quite dependable on beam. And moments ago for Arkansas, Paige Zaziski on the bars.
Wonderful to get a look at this bar routine. She has exquisite technique and form. Love to see her pirouette moves. Beautiful in that handstand position. There's the giant full right into the reverse hack.
Had a fantastic freshman year last year.
So far, this is an excellent routine for Arkansas. Great anchor routine. If she can nail the dismount, it's a beautiful double layout. Very, very nicely done. Good for her.
Good opening rotation for Arkansas on the bars. 3 scores of 9.8, 1.9825, and a 9.775. Zaziski expects a good score as well. Just catching the end of the routine from Taylor Puryear.
Kentucky actually has some very good scores, all in the 9-8 range. So they're doing a solid job on floor exercise.
Remember, you can customize your viewing experience at home. So if you want to see every routine from your favorite team, go to the ESPN app and dial it up on your second screen. Brittany Ward, the freshman, Ozark, Missouri. She has been a great contributor in her freshman year.
Yes, and ranked 9th in the country on this event. Been very consistent. Something to look forward to, a 3-element series. Right here, 2 back handsprings to a layout step out. Nice aggressive landing.
Kathy, I know you really are impressed with the work that Casey Jo McPherson is doing on beam with this team.
Absolutely. I like the composition of the routines. That's a nice leap series right there. One of the requirements that the judges are looking for. They really want to see that full split in the air. She's holding just a little bit of tension in her shoulders.
Well, hello, she's carrying the pressure of the conference title on her shoulders. All these athletes feel it. I mean, the regular scene was one thing, but this is for all the cookies, isn't it?
Well, I was impressed with their training. And oh, way to fight for that landing. She's showing quite a bit more difficulty in this routine. And it's nice to see it pay off if she can land this. 1.5 twist, just a little hop. Way to handle the pressure. They've done very, very well. They will have to count a low score of 9.625, but they're able to drop the routine that had the fall.
And the last competitor of this first of 4 rotation, Sydney Dukes, the freshman out of Tyler, Texas, made great contributions here as a freshman at Kentucky. Ranks 29th in the all-around in the NCAA. The 10th best in the all-around in the SEC.
Opens with a pike double back. Now the judges are going to be very particular on these landings. They really want to see perfect control on 2 feet before they step into the lunge.
Gymnastics fans might wonder why she has that additional mat. It's called a sting mat. Basically, it allows the athletes to protect their ankles a little bit. There's no deduction if you use that mat in competition. So
beautiful
great to see Kentucky.
leap. That is the highlight of the routine for me, actually. Just exquisite position in the air. Nice to see.
Kentucky ranked 22nd in the country. Had a regular season 7-6 record. 1-6 in the SEC, but that big win against Missouri was a boost for them. So much parity in this conference that on any given day, just about anybody can beat anybody else. We've seen it.
Closes with another double back, this time in tuck position. Good for her. I just love to see this amplitude and the form in the air. Look at the gorgeous picture she creates. If you froze, that is perfectly in split. She ends the routine with a tuck double back. We're going to see more difficulty in some routines, but when it comes right down to it, it's all about performing what you're capable of and hitting it in this moment. And she did just that.
All right, head coach Tim Garrison is thrilled with that opening effort on the floor. So as you can see on your screen, those are the standings after 1 of 4 rotations, and Laura is with Coach Garrison now.
All right, thanks, Bart and Coach. Scores in the 9-8 range, and then Sydney Dukes ends it with a bang. What's your impressions of floor?
I thought it was a solid start for us. I thought we built a lot of great momentum heading into vault.
You just said to your team, great start. What else is your message to them heading forward in this?
Just to keep the momentum going. That's really all we need to do. We started off with a great, solid rotation on floor. Let's go over and build on it on vault and carry it through the meet, and we'll be happy at the end of this.
Thanks. Solid start, Bart.
Okay, well done. First of 4 rotations, all set. When we come back, we'll move on to the second of 4 rotations at these thrilling SEC championships. Welcome back to the SEC Gymnastics Championship. The athletes warming up for the second rotation. Here are the scores after the first rotation in this session one. Georgia off to a great start with a 49-3 on vault. Kentucky in second with a 49-1-5. Nice job on floor. Arkansas did well, 49-1, and Missouri currently in fourth. Georgia was powerful as can be expected on vault, and Gigi Marino hit a big one.
Great to see these 1.5 twists. Georgia threw a bunch of them, did very, very well with the added difficulty, and just phenomenal on the landings.
What can you say about Brandy J? Brandy is Brandy, I think is what their coaches say.
She speaks for herself right here, launches it, and lands it perfectly.
Arkansas did a nice job on the bars in that first rotation. They're currently in third.
They were capable of, and they stayed so calm and in the moment, every single skill, and showed beautiful form. These handstands were gorgeous. Nice height on the release move, and finished it off with a bang.
Tia Albritton did a nice job for Missouri on the floor. Beam, pardon me.
It's really nice to see Missouri step up. Yes, they have to count one lower score, but they handled this pressure very well.
And Morgan Porter has contributed a great deal.
Very happy to see the fight on this event from start to finish. Beautiful 1.5 twist, just lands it beautifully.
Alex Highland, good start on floor for Kentucky. They're very impressed with their opening rotation here at the championship.
It's a very solid start for Kentucky. If they can build on that over on the vault and hit some landings, they will help their case. Here's Tiara Phipps. They showed off everything they had, left it on the floor. Very nice job for Kentucky in the first rotation.
Okay, Arkansas is getting set to go to the beam. That is the make or break event in women's gymnastics, and that's where the Razorbacks will be when we come back. All right, we're back at the SEC Championship. There are the scores after the first rotation. Georgia with a lead of 1,500ths over Kentucky. Arkansas 2/10 out of the lead, and they will be moving to the balance beam. And once again, make sure you tune into our all-around coverage. You can customize your viewing experience on a second screen to catch all 4 events going simultaneously. Oh, good start on vault there for Kentucky. They've carried the momentum over from floor. Sydney Dillard now, the senior out of Fairview, Texas, on the beam for Arkansas. The beam leadoff role, how can we
emphasize enough
exactly
how important this is, and this is the athlete you want in this position. Sydney Dillard has been gold for them on this event. So solid, little bit of a balance check there. I can tell she's feeling the nerves, the intense pressure. She's had to check now twice. She needs to settle in, breathe.
Now, as Laura mentioned, these balance beams up on a 4-foot riser. The podium makes the dynamics of the beam in particular a little bit different. It's maybe more forgiving, a little springier, but sometimes a little shakier.
It's definitely got more bounce. It's good for the aerial skills. For an athlete who's very visual, it changes the peripheral vision that you have when you're on balance beam. There is certainly an adjustment. And you really have to take your time, settle the beam on the landing, but that's being aggressive and really landing with authority. She's settled in much better. This is what you typically see from Sydney Dillard on this event. Very calm, aggressive, confident work. She's added more difficulty throughout her collegiate career on this event. It's nice to see. The dismount, a round off 1.5 twist. Well done on the landing. She fought through the nerves, and that's good to see. I really like that we have seen an increase in difficulty from this young lady throughout her career, especially on this event. It's her favorite.
Georgia moves to the bars in this second rotation. They're the leader by a little less than 2/10 of a point. Grace Cherry. Laura.
Bart, Dana Durrani's message to her team right before bars was be present, stay in the moment, keep focused, and keep those blinders on.
Also a very strong event traditionally for Georgia. They're ranked 9th in the country.
They can be very good on this event. They've got nice variety of skills from routine to routine. Double layout, little check on that landing. But a stuck routine for Georgia.
There's Jay Hogue, who is in charge of bars for Georgia, has done a nice job. He's in his 4th year there. Georgia has had a season of highs and lows. We'll talk more about that later. Aubrey Rosa set to go now on vault for Kentucky.
They stuck their first vault, almost got a good landing there, but look at the distance. That was the best part of that vault. She really flew out off of the table. Now watch this. She gets good block, but really sends the vault back out away from the table. Nice stretched hips to show out that laid out position, and almost got the landing, but had to hop back.
Once again, 4 events going simultaneously.
It just adds to the challenge. You really have to stay focused. Those blinders that Laura Rutledge mentioned, Georgia coaches reminding their athletes to keep them on, stay in your bubble, because there's so much action flying around the arena.
It's a good point. It's a big difference from regular season where the athletes are on stage one at a time, alternating performances. Here, it is a 4-ring circus of chaos, and so you hear cheering, you hear music, you hear applause at inopportune times. It's just a whole different atmosphere. Yes. It's hard to keep focus, isn't it?
Honestly, I loved it. On balance beam, it's almost like white noise because it can really block out anything, and you can stay focused on your own thoughts, your own strong cues. Clearly, Paige Ziski did just that.
Good job.
On beam.
9.725 was the score for Sydney Dillard in their leadoff role, so another hit there for Arkansas. Natalie Vakulik now, the sophomore from Whitby, Ontario.
The best part of her routine is look how tightly she keeps those feet and legs together. She glues them together, keeps the toe point throughout. And as long as she doesn't rush, she usually hits the handstand. So far, so good. Half in, half out. Oh, that is probably the best routine I have seen her do all season long. She put it together.
Back to Kentucky on vault.
Great landing, kept that pike position, however, in the air, and that stretched position is what the judges are looking for. But needless to say, look at the smile on her face. She is happy.
Katie Stewart has had a great season for Missouri as well. Their scores range from 9-6 to Sydney Duke's 9-8-5. So solid and respectable job in that second rotation for Kentucky on the vault. .985 was the score for Paige Ziski. So Arkansas doing a terrific job. Let's see what Amanda Wellick can do.
If they can keep building the momentum, which is exactly what you want to do in team gymnastics. It's like playing add-on. As each gymnast goes, the momentum grows, the confidence. Here's her leap series. Can really see how deliberate she's being in every position. Not rushing, aerial walkover, nice solid landing.
In terms of ranking, the highest ranking that Arkansas has in the nation is on beam. They're 11th. They're also 11th on vault.
Oh, no. I could see her question that in the air. You could see the hips kind of turn midair. She pulled it back on. Will certainly save the fall, but it will be a deduction for the balance error. Little check on the full turn, another requirement on the balance beam. Now she's back to more calm, deliberate positions. Side somersault, much better in the air and on the landing.
Arkansas seems to have Alabama's number. They've beaten them the last couple of years. And typically Alabama, you know, 6-time national champion, is almost unbeatable, but not for Arkansas.
Double twist and a gorgeous landing. She was really kind of in and out, mostly in on that routine, really stayed focused. She just lost it a little bit midair. Let's see, right here. Yep, she's turned, that right hip just turned out to the side before she landed, but what a save.
Go down to Laura Rutledge.
Bart, Arkansas was trying to anticipate some of that noise and distraction of this championship that we've been talking about. So they pumped in crowd noise during practice, especially on beam. They did a lot of outside screaming and a lot of loudness to try to figure out how to balance out that distraction. But I will say this, Arkansas's crowd is actually the loudest in this arena, so it might have been unnecessary.
That's a good idea. You might as well bring the loudest section so you know they're at least cheering for you. Well done. Of course, we are in North Little Rock, and that bodes well for the Razorbacks. Randy J. You see here, bars RQS. RQS stands for Regional Qualifiers, where it's a combination of scores both home and away throughout the season. That's how they rank the athletes going into the national championship.
And this is a great 1-2 punch to close out Georgia's rotation on the bars. Very dynamic routine here, good difficulty. Release move. Will come up at the end. Wow, look at the handstand she hit on that bail. Here's her big single bar release. It's an interesting one. It's called a Shishanova. She went back to that this year and has done very well with it.
Oh,
gorgeous.
Beautiful dismount.
Absolutely. That is the highlight so far of the meet. Very difficult dismount. A double layout with a full twist.
That's the hardest dismount being done in college gymnastics, and did she nail it?
You couldn't tell by the way she did it. It looked pretty darn easy.
Before her, Rachel Schick had a 9-9, by the way. Good for her.
Look at the, just so much going on in that skill. I can't tell you how hard it is, especially at the end of the routine, and she just nailed it.
Erin Freer for Arkansas on beam moments ago. You see her national RQS.
And she has a lovely presence on this event, really uses those long lines, long legs so well on this event. Beautiful flexibility, nice toe point.
We saw her on bars. Typically she contributes just on beam and bars, and a gymnast of her height, those are events where she can excel. A little bit tougher for the tall gymnast to be as explosive on vault and floor.
She is staying extremely strong throughout this routine. Very aggressive, yet poised. All she has left after this combination right here, cat leap, aerial cartwheel, was just such a nice routine so far. If she can stick the dismount.
See Brittany Rogers for Georgia on bars at the same time.
Doing one of the hardest routines in collegiate gymnastics on that event, and a gorgeous job on bars. What an exciting competition. She finishes with a stick.
Let's go back to Brittany Rogers' dismount.
This was just a beautiful routine, and she finished it off in grand fashion with a perfect landing.
Had a little bit of a hiccup on the transition from the high bar to the low bar where she came in close. We'll see what the judges do with that. But Georgia off to a nice start on two events where they're traditionally very strong, vault and bars. Georgia the leader after the first event, and you see their score there, 98.5. We have yet to calculate the score for Brittany Rogers. Laura has more.
Well, Brittany's actually going to add more difficulty to that bars routine because she's going to compete in the Pacific Rim Championships for Canada on April 7th. So that comes in between regionals and nationals. She's a training fool at this point, you guys, but she loves to represent her university and her country at the same time. And what she'll add is a full twisting element and a front element. So a Stalder full and a Jaeger, that'll go in the beginning of that routine to make it even more difficult.
Pretty rare that a gymnast can compete in college gymnastics and yet still have the difficulty to compete in international elite gymnastics. So we wish her and her teammates well. They have a really good shot at placing well at the Olympics in Rio this summer. Morgan Porter, the freshman, set to go for Missouri on floor.
Missouri has had some troubles on floor exercise. They have a 9.35 that they would like to drop. They will have to count a 9.675 already.
Shauna Miller had the 9.35 after a missed opportunity on balance beam as well for her. Their high score is Allison Bauer's 9.8 so far.
Very solid landing on the tumbling. The judges are really looking for so much beautiful positions in those leaps. They're looking for difficulty in the tumbling passes, completely controlled landings, perfect amplitude and flexibility in the leaps, and good choreography to the music. So nice 1.5 twist there to a front layout.
Last year as a freshman, Morgan Porter set and broke nearly every record at Missouri, so she had a terrific coming out year.
Very strong routine, one of their best. Sorry to see them having a couple little troubles throughout the competition because they are such an improved team. Strong tumbling from start to finish here. Very good at finding the landing, hitting the shape in the air. Good form. Look at that, toes pointed throughout the double back. Looks for the floor. And a good control on the step back into the lunge.
Go back over to the beam now for Arkansas. Samantha Nelson, the junior from Massachusetts. 2015 SEC co-freshman of the year.
Arkansas has been quite solid so far. Their scores range from 9.725 up to a 9.85 from Paige Ziziski. They can go 6 for 6, which is always the goal of any team. Even if you can drop that one low score, you really want to hit all 6.
Arkansas's best finish in the SEC was 4th back in 2011. They've been 5th twice.
Wow, incredibly confident throughout this routine.
Kennedy Harris starting her floor routine for Missouri.
Arkansas is just on the cusp of going 6 for 6 on balance beam. A great rotation for them. Got the dismount and finished it with a stick just for a little icing on their cake.
So they have carried the momentum from the last through 3 regular season meets into the championship. Good job for the Razorbacks.
I liked hearing that this young lady provides so much leadership for the Missouri team in and out of the classroom. It's equally important to lead when you're not in the gym.
She has really embraced that closing anchor position typically.
Unfortunately, she was a little stiff-legged on that landing, didn't absorb the landing, probably a little worried about the bounce of this floor on the podium. Couldn't quite get that last landing.
Everything is just a little bit springier up there, and sometimes at the end of the routine it's hard to adjust. But she saved it, a minor deduction only on that landing.
Right here, sometimes you can just either try a little too hard, be ahead of yourself, rather than absorb the bounce in the landing. Her chest was forward and down. That would have been a deduction in and of itself.
So Missouri has finished on the beam as well as the floor. We are completely done with the second of 4 rotations in this 4-ring circus. Athletes waiting on some final scores before they rotate to their next event.
This is the moments where the coaches really gather their athletes and keep them focused as they rotate to the next event. You really have to put whatever happened on the previous event behind you, whether it was great or not so great, and start focusing on the next. Stay in that moment.
Okay, here are the current standings at the second of 4 rotations. Georgia still in the lead with a 98.5. Kentucky a 98.2. Arkansas 25 thousandths of a point behind. And Shannon Welker's Missouri Tigers in 4th right now. And Laura is with Coach Welker.
All right, thank you, Bart. And Coach, how do you think your team's handling this atmosphere so far?
I thought we did pretty well on beam. I thought we opened up pretty good. Floor wasn't as clean as I would have liked to have seen, so we're hoping that we can get it back on track here and show a little more of what we've been doing all year long.
What's the key for vault?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What's the key for vault?
Oh, you know, I think just being aggressive and making sure that we're tight when we're landing. I think pretty much just believing in our training.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
All right, when we come back to North Little Rock, we'll move on to the 3rd of 4 rotations. All the bragging rights on the line for the SEC today, I'll tell you that. Welcome back to the 2016 SEC Championship. We're halfway through the session 1. Georgia in the lead, Kentucky 3/10 back, Arkansas 25 thousandths of a point behind them, and Missouri in 4th. Kentucky has done a nice job. In fact, good job on vault in particular.
Oh, absolutely. They got to start on 2 great events for them and just carried the momentum from floor, built on it, and did their absolute best vaults when it counted the most right here at the SEC Championships. Look at the form and the landings throughout from start to finish of their lineup. It was fantastic. Great to see this Kentucky team come up big.
And boy, last year they had a season to forget with injuries and illness, and it's great to see them coming back strong here.
Beautiful, nice stretched form in the air. Right here, found the landing, spots the floor. Good for Kentucky.
Georgia on the bars.
Georgia did a terrific job all the way to their anchor, which would normally be their hugest routine. They were really building routine after routine. Very calm but aggressive. Hit the positions. Like this layout position in the air, found great landings, and Arkansas on the beam. They were so relaxed, so confident, and went for every single skill. Came up so nicely there. Showed off her flexibility and her aggressive, confident, calm, exactly what you need for balance beam.
Georgia will have to go to the beam. We mentioned they've had a high and low season. Well, some of that has to do with the beam. Let's see what they can do in the next rotation. The 3rd of 4 rotations. Remember, the all-around channel allows the viewer to stream every apparatus live at the same time on one screen. Lots of options. So go to the ESPN app or watch ESPN on the SEC Network Plus channels. Brandy J set to go now for Georgia. Let's go to Laura.
Well, Brandy J told me that some of those struggles that Georgia had earlier this year on balance beam made them stronger. She said the falls made us what we are today. We wouldn't be the team we are without some of those struggles. And she said it showed them that if somebody has a rough time, the rest of the team can pick them up.
I mentioned highs and lows. They had some lows, but at the same time, they beat Florida. They beat LSU. We saw some epic performances as well. So Georgia, once again, has enormous raw potential. Let's see if they can deliver it when it counts here during the championship.
Most important, 3 of their 4 best team performances were the last 3 meets. They have momentum, they have confidence, and they made a change in the lineup that I love. They're putting Brandy J first. Even though this is the first year in college, she is performing on balance beam. She's settled in nicely, has been a rock for them, and has taken on this leadoff spot with such leadership and ownership. And it's such a selfless thing, one, to do for your team, but to be able to provide this stability right off the bat, because she just has ice in her veins, I have to say, and driven by such heart.
Well, you can see it in her face. It's just, I got this.
Yep. No way is she going to miss. It's in her DNA right now. Look at the smile on her face. If she can keep it together all the way through to the dismount, she has done her job magnificently. This is exactly what Georgia needs. It is a shot in the arm and a stick too. Good
That
for
was
you,
huge.
Brandy J. Good for you.
Unbelievable. And this has been a season of adversity for the Georgia Gym Dogs.
This is team gymnastics at its finest.
Dana Durante gives her a huge hug because she knows how crucial that leadoff position on beam is. Wow. Moments ago, Shauna Miller for Missouri on the vault.
They open with Madeline Huber with a 9-7. This is one of their stronger vaults. She lands a little bit close to the table. She did hold on to the landing. That's a good thing, but they will definitely deduct for being close to the table when she landed. You really want to see them fly high and fly far.
9.775 was the score for her after Huber's 9.7.
See the anticipation on every face as they prepare to begin their competitive routine.
I mentioned this is the first time in the year that the athletes are judged by 4 judges. So typically there's just 2 judges. And so the high and lower drop. The 2 scores in the middle are average, and sometimes that takes the scores just a little bit longer to get calculated.
Bart, Natalie Vakula can be so gorgeous on this event. What she has to add to that is tough. You have to be very, very tough in this moment. Follow through with the strong cue, hip square, shoulder square, nice landing.
Nice coaching. 9.875 was Brandy J's leadoff score. That is gigantic.
Trust me, it's hard for any gymnast sitting in this arena to not do the skills with them. As they handle this pressure, beautifully done. It's nice to see her be so confident, because then you can enjoy the form, the very pretty, elegant gymnastics she brings to this event.
You know, it's interesting. All the coaches have to find the right demeanor for them on the sidelines. And talking to the coaches here, some like to be in the gymnast's face, some like to resort to the background, and looks like Dana Durante has found a situation that is advantageous for her team.
And she handled that dismount. Aerial cartwheel into the full, saw a tiny little stutter step on the punch. Nice block off the table. That was a much bigger vault in terms of amplitude. That should score well.
Alex Highland set to go for Kentucky on the bars. Katrina Koka had a 9.8. Katie Stewart a 9.775.
Nice finished position in that full pirouette right on top of the bar. Little short on that bail to handstand on low. She had to quickly go into the next skill. sets up the half in, half out, and a beautiful landing. Kentucky is really competing very, very well. They have 3 scores, 2 of them 9-7-2-5, 9-7-7-5, and a 9-8 from their leadoff, so they're doing pretty well.
Brittany Rogers set to go on the beam. Let's go to Laura.
Bart, you mentioned Dana Durante, Georgia's head coach, standing back a little bit, and it's really been a balancing act for her, figuring out how to properly coach this beam team. She said she wanted to stand back so that they could realize they really can own their gymnastics. She told me that she's finally feeling like they've found that perfect balance where she can talk to them and stand back because she knows they can do it.
And even more, she found a great way to put them in places in the lineup they are most comfortable. Brittany Rogers likes to go early in the lineup. She feels better. It gives her less time to overthink things, and that's the one thing she tends to do. Richardson back handspring. She looks quite confident, very crisp, clear on all her movements. Here's her series. Again, needs to keep everything square, shoulders, hips in line with the beam. Oh, almost rushed a little bit on that landing.
Talk about a legendary program. 16 times Georgia has won the SEC title. 10 times they've won the NCAA championship. All of those came under the leadership of Suzanne Yochlin, their legendary head coach. And Dana Durante has brought this program back to one of the top programs, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind a championship here today.
And the dismount, very nice comeback for Brittany Rogers. She had the little mistake on the uneven bars, came back strong here. She is juggling so much between competing for Canada, adding difficulty in her workouts for those routines, and yet still training the routine she performs here. Well done.
And just a moment ago, Brittany Ward for Missouri on the vault.
Very good scores for Missouri. Look at that vault, and let me tell you, that is worth a 10.0 in the code of points. So she has a 0.05 of a point advantage going in. She was a little off center on the board and even on the landing. Hard for the judges to see, but they probably be able to tell she's slightly off center. But boy, she fought hard to stick that landing.
Morgan Porter had a 9.85, and then that vault score for Brittany Ward was a 9.9. So Missouri, after perhaps a little bit of a shaky rotation on the floor, according to Coach Shannon Welker, they came back strong on the vault. Marissa Buechler now for Kentucky on the bars. 2 9.8 scores over there.
And you'll remember this gymnast came in last year after Alexis Gross went down in warm-ups with a knee injury, and she came in and hit 3 events for Kentucky. So she has been so important to this team. Well done here on the uneven bars.
In fact, 3 9.8s, because Sydney Dukes before her had a 9.8. Samantha Nelson for Arkansas on the floor. Let's go down to Laura.
Bart, this Arkansas team, all smiles down here. They're having a ton of fun. They said really bringing that momentum from the regular season into this SEC championship would be so important for them. They're feeding off the crowd and feeding off of each other, and there's a lot of confidence with this team right now. They told me it's because they figured out how to finally truly have fun in gymnastics.
You mentioned at the top of the show there, you find that blend of having fun is a way of kind of coping with the pressure, isn't it?
Absolutely. They have to go hand in hand. You have to embrace it and love the pressure because you can use it, focus it, become hyper-focused. But in the end, you also have to trust your training, have fun, because that gives you the little bit of relaxed feeling you have to go in and perform how you do in practice. This Arkansas team has tremendous support in the audience, a lot of cheering. Very solid finish to the routine.
You see in the background there, by the way, it's Jamie Armbrust, who is former Jamie Pisani. She is a second season assistant coach there, doing a nice job for Mark Cook and his team.
And one of the all-time greats for Arkansas Gymnastics. Really went after this final tumbling run.
We're going to head back over to the beam for Georgia. Boy, good scores so far. Brandy J, 9.875. Natalie Vikulik, 9.85. Brittany Rogers, 9.85. Waiting on the score for Vicky Bobolis. Broussard is the junior from Plano, Texas. Like the judges are taking their time calculating the score for Bobolis. Once again, I mentioned 4 judges, high and low thrown out, 2 scores in the middle averaged.
Reminds you a little bit about icing the kicker here when you have to stand there and wait for balance beam. It's certainly not intentional, but it's something the athletes really have to prepare for and stay focused. Ashlyn is really beautiful on this event, very expressive. Here's her series. Nice shot to see how lined up with the balance beam she is. They really focus on keeping the hips and shoulders square with the beam, core strong. It's all about keeping your center over the balance beam. And any corrections you make should be so subtle to not overcorrect. It's a very fluid event, one that requires calm, focused, not too many cues in the head, just the strong ones. Oh, really thought she had this. It looked like she was just hyper-focused and really into the routine. Was so close to finishing strong.
So the first 3 scores for Georgia were outstanding. Vivi Bobolis had a 9.65, not spectacular, and of course that score will be even lower. So Broussard's score will be the one they hope to drop. That puts enormous pressure on Mary Beth Box, who will be their final performer. What happened?
Just rushed a little bit. You have to keep your center over the beam in the air and then really, really follow through with the landing.
Missed opportunity there, certainly, for Georgia. 3 huge scores. But Mary Beth Box has been in this situation many times before.
She's terrific in this situation, actually. She is fire and ice. Just really, really, really fires herself up, is extremely aggressive. She goes after this routine, and she has been in this situation so often because unfortunately they have had misses throughout the season. Early in the season, I thought they had those heebie-jeebies kind of behind them,
right.
And they really were. They just reared their ugly head in that split second.
In a lot of ways, this might be a defining moment for their season, because off to a great start, a couple of hiccups, and so now can they round it off with the outstanding routine of Mary Beth Box?
She can do this, absolutely.
Amanda Wellick for Arkansas on floor at the same time.
I'm sorry she has to feel this kind of pressure, but it just really develops you. Oh gosh, she cut that short. That's an example of getting ahead of yourself and trying to land too soon. You got to finish the skill. Follow through. It's just so much pressure she's feeling. She's settling in.
Some athletes like that intensity from the coach. Dana Durrani said a few weeks ago she told Brittany a joke just before she went up, Mary Beth Box, and that kind of relaxed her a little bit.
Very nice job. She was very good at thriving under this kind of pressure. Nice job on the dismount. Really clutch performance for Mary Beth. Good for her. I'm sorry they find themselves in that situation again. They will count a low score.
9.65 for Bobolas, and the score for Ashlyn Broussard is 9.4. That's the one they will drop, because Mary Beth Box will certainly be above that.
Arkansas doing very well on floor. Finished strong right there. Very, very nice control throughout the routine.
Arkansas is just flat out having a great meet.
They are absolutely having a good meet. They look good in warm-ups. She really stayed focused throughout the entire routine. And Arkansas competing so well, enjoying themselves, having some fun, and coming up with some good gymnastics as well.
Okay, we're calculating the scores here on the sideline. That will finish the third of 4 rotations. Waiting on the score for Amanda Wellick for Arkansas on the floor. Mary Beth Box, you see her score comes in at a 9.8, so that will replace the 9.4. So Coach Mark Cook is with our Laura.
All right, thank you, Bart. And Coach, smiling ear to ear throughout that floor rotation, what would you describe the energy of this team with?
This team has a lot of tenacity. Okay, they've been like this all season, and they like to perform, especially being here at Little Rock, in their hometowns.
Okay, what's the key going forward into vault? How do they keep this momentum going that they've had throughout this entire meet?
Well, you just say, just give it all you got. You got one last event, give it all you got, and just put it out there. So that's what they're going to do.
We hope you keep smiling.
I hope so, too. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Mark Cook. Let's take a look at the scores now. We're set now for the 4th rotation. When we come back, Georgia has the lead over Arkansas, Kentucky in 3rd, Missouri in 4th. All right, let's take a look at the scores after the 3rd of 4 rotations. Georgia, their lead is now just 15/100ths of a point over Arkansas, Kentucky, and Missouri, the 4 teams in this session. Let's look at some of the highlights from the 3rd rotation. Zaria Lewis, Missouri.
Came up big for them, really got them on a roll after this vault of 9.825, and the rest just built on that.
Kennedy Harris.
She followed with another solid vault, scored a 9.8 here. Very good amplitude from this team.
Kentucky having a good meet today as well. Sydney Duke's got a good job there.
It's really nice seeing them really put things together in this competition, hitting so well, and even the details they're paying such attention to.
Duke's got a 9.8 for that routine. Vivi Bobolas, little bit shaky for Georgia on the beam. And Stephanie Cannizzaro, a solid score for Arkansas, who's really having a very solid meet today. Currently sitting in 2nd, just 1/1500ths of a point behind the 16-time SEC champions Georgia. Don't forget tonight, the SEC Gymnastics title continues at 6 Eastern. The top 4 seeds battle it out in the 2nd session. Make sure you watch it tonight.
The the SEC on ESPN, and we welcome you back to Little Rock for the SEC Gymnastics Championship as we head into our final rotation. I'm joined by Georgia head coach Dana Durrani. And Dana, a couple of hiccups on beam, but Mary Beth Box comes up with the clutch performance. What did you say to her after that?
I was really proud of her. She was disappointed that she wobbled on the tuck full, but you could tell that she kind of clicked it into another gear. And really, maybe a little hiccup or two, but they fought hard, and that's something we've been working to do on that event. The entire meet, they've just been setting the pace, and that's what we asked them to do. So excited to finish strong on floor. That's our event. We love it. They can't wait to show it off. So
you said that's your event, and this team is so strong on floor. What is the key to doing that and showing what they can do?
I think it's just their confidence. In their training, they know they're ready, and they absolutely love to perform. We have 16 hams, but 6 that get to perform out here. And so any opportunity they get to represent Georgia and show it off a little bit, they're going to take it.
Thanks, Coach. Bart, you know a little something about being a ham.
Good for you.
Oh, I'll get you back. I promise that, Laura. Thank you. Okay, we are set now for the 4th and final rotation in Session 1. Remember, later on tonight on the SEC Network, you can see Session 2, which features the top 4 seeded teams. But all 8 teams, even though they're not competing in the same session, are in contention for SEC titles.
I think Laura channeled your grandmother and sent you a message there.
Okay, Morgan Reynolds, what a story she is for Georgia. Now, here's a young lady that missed most of the season. She was in the hospital a couple of weeks with E. coli virus.
Can you believe it? And it was a rare form of it. A week of that was spent in ICU. They weren't sure she would come back and just have a regular life, much less do gymnastics. And look at this, leading them off on floor exercise.
This is only her 3rd meet of the season. 2 meets at the end of the season. She scored 9.825 both times.
Well, gymnastics is so heart-driven that having this kind of inspiration is huge for any team. Seen this team come back so strong after less than stellar performances on beam, but they always come back. And in fact, we saw them come back so strong, they upset Florida in the regular season.
What a thriller that was down in Athens, Georgia.
I know that's the kind of performance they want to see close out these SEC championships here on this event. And Morgan Reynolds has gotten them off to such a great start. Good for her. She doesn't have the huge difficulty that we will see later in the competition in Session 2, but opened strong, fought for the landings, and was just lovely to see on this event.
Great to have her back in the lineup for the Gym Dogs. Again, all-around coverage for both of these sessions here at the SEC, so make sure you go to a second screen and dial up your favorite team or your favorite event, because we're not missing any of the action. Ray Speed, Arkansas.
They open with Samantha Nelson in a 9.7 as a leadoff vault. This is a Yurchenko full. Pretty big hop. They will take that deduction, but sure nice height.
Good to have her back in the lineup.
Absolutely.
She missed all of last year with an ACL injury. Phoebe Bobolas now for Georgia.
This is a tight competition between Georgia and Arkansas for that coveted top spot coming out of Session 1. Phoebe shows more difficulty with that whip back to a tuck double back. She doesn't perform back handsprings in the routine too hard on an elbow condition that she has. Been very creative in the tumbling passes, and she's talented enough to pull that off. They really need perfect landings on their tumbling runs. Those are the obvious deductions that the judges will absolutely take. And then the fine details, judges really have to be very sophisticated and scrutinize the little things, especially in a competition like this.
Like Dana Durante said, I actually had to teach her how to smile, to sell her routine a little bit better. She's a sophomore out of Montreal, Quebec.
Very nice pop on that pike double back out of the round off. Good lift, good technique. It's a great comeback for her. She wasn't perfect on balance beam, so she really wanted to get it there.
Amanda Wellick now for Arkansas involved.
Nice long stretch position in the air. That extra body height she has really shows off that vault. Judges really need to compare these vaults in terms of height and distance and form and technique. A lot going on in a little time. Pretty good form.
And good scores for Arkansas over there. Paige Ziziski a 9.85. Grace Speed a 9.8. Sydney McLone a 9.85. The low score so far, 9.7 for Arkansas. And we talked to Mark Cook. I said, what's your goal in this session? He goes, just beat Georgia. That's it. They want to come out of this session as the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, before we get set for the second session.
And they've been competing hard for it.
Vault typically finishes faster than the other events because it goes so quickly. So we will know the score that Georgia needs to beat to go ahead of Arkansas if they can do it. Amanda Wellick's score is a 9.85. Mackenzie Anderson will be the final vaulter for Arkansas on what has been a great meet. Sydney Sneed for Georgia on the floor now.
She shows such great energy in this routine. Whip back to two back handsprings into a double back. It's a nice long pass, kept it in bounds. Now we haven't seen any of the big E elements yet from Georgia on this event, but they are being clean, fulfilling all the requirements they need to have the 10-0 start value. And the one thing they do particularly well, they really perform the routines for the audiences, for the judges, full energy. Now watch the landing, see if she can keep her feet completely together, show the control on the landing before moving out of it. Pike double back, much more difficult. It was a good landing. Her chest was a little bit down and forward. That's something the judges can deduct for.
Remember, they have a 9.825 for Morgan Reynolds. Vivi Balak. This is an interesting angle because you need to go corner to corner. If you get a little offline, you might be flirting with that line. And look at that. She just keeps it in.
She's got eyes on her feet.
And moments ago, Mackenzie Anderson, the final vaulter for Arkansas. 3 9.85s over there for them.
Okay in the air, but they will take a deduction for the large step backwards. Hard to hide that.
I think they were hoping that putting her final in the anchor position might help her score a little bit. Every coach tries to take advantage of all aspects to build a team score. Typically the scores start tight and build towards the end of the rotation.
And there's all kinds of different philosophies on where to put each gymnast, each routine based on the strengths, the weaknesses of the particular routine. It's a puzzle.
And maximizing that team score. So her score 9.775 is in. So Arkansas's meet is complete. And a 196.5 is a very, very good score. So we'll be calculating what Georgia needs if they hope to maintain the slight lead that they had coming into this final rotation.
And Kentucky has struggled a little bit on balance beam. They have a 915 that they really need to drop. They finished that routine very well, but they really want to hit the remainder of that lineup.
Boy, they had a great 9-8 for Montana Whittle in their leadoff position. Good strategy there to put up one of your stars first.
Gigi Marino on floor exercise. Of course, we saw her do a terrific vault. There's a lot of power, nice technique on that 1.5 twist into the front layout. You can really feel the energy in this arena building in anticipation for these final scores from Georgia. You can see the teams on the sideline really creating the energy for their team to inspire them, drive them on, focus on this landing here, but hit the shape in the air first, pike double back. Very nicely done. It was kind of a long step into that lunge. She was in control on that final tumbling pass. But if the front foot slides back at all because you're taking a large step, the judges could take a little deduction there.
Sydney Dukes now for Kentucky on the beam. Notice the scores down in the bottom right. Arkansas, their meet is over. Vault finishes first, 196.5. Missouri, with a great job on bars, in fact, gets their highest score ever in the SEC championship. So congratulations to Missouri for having a solid meet. The final two teams are the teams on the longest events, beam and floor. That's Kentucky here and Georgia on floor.
And they came back strong with Sydney Waltz on beam. We saw her finish that routine. Got a 9.85. That's a nice comeback after the back-to-back 9.15 and 9.675. Oh, beautiful position in the air on those loops.
Really happy for Kentucky considering this challenging season they had last year. This is really encouraging to see them improve and deliver these kind of pressure performances.
Great routine right there. Nice to see. Especially the excitement after.
Mary Beth Box, you saw her struggle just a bit on beam. And see what she can do on floor. This is a lot of fun.
It was just a tiny beat. It was that one little jump she did. She can shine here, though. Look at the controlled landing on the pike double back, and she just flirts and expresses herself in such a great way on this event.
I love how Dana Durante says this is one of my favorite routines in all of college gymnastics, not just from my team. And I think she's right.
It's smile-driven, that is for sure, and it comes from a very pure place of joy within this athlete. And you could tell she's paying attention to the details, the toe point in those jumps, not giving anything up.
The senior out of Calhoun, Georgia. Her career as a collegiate gymnastics is coming to close. 3 weeks from now will be the NCAA championships. There's NCAA regional in between, but boy, does Georgia hope to come out of this session with the top score.
She's got to hit the position in the air first. Gorgeous height and amplitude. She paid such attention to every detail in there. I love seeing her focus on those fine details while smiling up a storm and performing the heck out of that routine.
Second ago, Alex Highland started the beam for Kentucky. By the way, that terrific routine by Sydney Dukes was a 9.9. Sydney Walth before her in 9.85. So the one score of 9.15 would likely be dropped if Alex Hyland could hit. And what a meet Kentucky's having as well.
Need to try to hold that toe point in the back foot on that second leap. Again, I keep focusing on tiny little details. They're going to focus on those more and more in this postseason in terms of deductions. Nice combination, aerial walkover into the back handspring. That's one of the requirements for the series.
Tell you what, around this arena, all 4 teams having a very solid meet.
Isn't that great to see? It's all you hope for, is that everyone hits routines to the best of their ability. They've trained so hard, they've worked so hard throughout the season.
On the day that it matters. Well done.
Good combination into the dismount. Tuck full. I'd like to see her land with her feet together, but she didn't move them.
Mary Beth Box at 9.925. Brandy J will be last. She gets a couple of notes from Phil Ogletree, one of the assistant coaches. Let's go to Laura.
Bart, Brandy J also talked to Mary Beth Box, congratulated her on such a great routine, and Mary Beth just looked at her and said, have so much fun. Brandy J's told me she loves gymnastics more than anything else. They shared a really long hug, and these two seniors are really good friends, so I think it meant a lot to them.
That hug almost made me cry. There is so much love in this sport among the teammates and how much they have each other's backs throughout the long season of gymnastics. Look at that, opened up with a full out. We don't often see that tumbling pass in collegiate gymnastics. Well, it looks like smiles are contagious. Let's see if stuck landings are equally so. Beautiful height.
With that 9.925 from Mary Beth Box, plus some solid routines from Georgia. You see their score is already a 196.75, so they have clinched the top score in session 1. They will best Arkansas, Missouri, and Kentucky, so maybe they can extend their lead a little bit with a big score here from Brandy J in the anchor roll.
So far, this is a big score. Would have liked to have seen that wolf jump with the front leg just a tiny bit higher, but it's being a little picky.
The score that they would replace is a 9.775.
Now she can hit this big. So much tumbling ability in this body. Back half to front full. Ah, nice look right there. A happy gymnast here who has performed so well. This is truly a highlight in collegiate gymnastics. It's a double back, but watch where she does the twist. She waits, does the first one open, then twists. And she uses that cat-like ability to find the floor. This is a back, half twist, spots the floor, then sets up the front full.
Okay, the gym dog says, that's our senior. The fans are thrilled. Boy, the gym dogs, boy, they travel in style. I mean, they come and tailgate at these events. It's great fun to see the growth and the excitement around women's collegiate gymnastics, particularly in the SEC. Final notes from Dana Durante. Her 4th year at Georgia.
I just love how well the coaches in this conference do with these athletes. I mean, you really have to roll so much into one. You have to be mom, psychologist, coach, technician. Sometimes you have to provide the harsh critique, the push to get them to be their very best in and out of the gym. in competition, and you got to deal with some disappointments, and they do it incredibly well, all with love and care. It's wonderful to see.
See the final scores there after the first of 2 sessions. We'll be back with interviews, and we'll wrap it up from North Little Rock. Come on back. What a great session 1. Georgia gets the win, but Arkansas, Kentucky, and Missouri all have their highest scores ever in the SEC championship. What a way to start this incredible day of college gymnastics. Let's go down to Laura.
Well, thank you, Bart and Dana. You mentioned that fight that this team has. How did it lead to the highest score in session 1 at the SEC Championships?
I think just building. We started strong on vault, which is what we were after. Starting strong and not necessarily taking that first event and then hitting our stride, but really starting strong. And they did that on vault. Hit a few little hiccups on bars and beam, but certainly those are things we can work out in the next few weeks as we get ready for regionals. And then finishing strong on floor. So really proud of this team and the way that they performed today.
Brandy J continues to be such a leader for this team and so consistent. How would you describe her performance today?
Brandy. Like there's no other way to say it. She just is unbelievably consistent in practice. She works hard every day. She comes with the right mindset. She's so much about her team, way more than about herself. And I think it just keeps her kind of out of her own head. She knows she wants to support her team and be there for them. And it just allows her to really think about what she needs to do when it's her turn. The rest of the time, she's thinking about what somebody else might need from her. So she's like the quintessential team leader. She just is.
Mary Beth Box, a complete ham on floor, as you told us. But she was so focused on the little details. What made the difference there?
Again, that's Mary Beth on floor. That really is Mary Beth on floor. And if you look at where she's been on beam and floor the last several weeks, she's been really, really consistent. And that is just how she does it. She knows those details are important. Her skill level is strong. She tumbles through the roof. She knows those details are what really brings home the 9925 or the 995.
You just said to your team, we're going to keep building, and you've got 2 weeks to do that. What did they show you today that you'll take going forward?
Fight. We've been up and down throughout the season. There's no question, and kind of hitting our stride right at the right time. But to fight on the biggest stage is important. This is what it's going to look like in Fort Worth in about 3.5, 4 weeks, and so this is great preparation for them for that. And we're excited to get back to Athens, get a little training under our belt. We have regionals at home, which is important for us. We love being in Stegman in front of our fans, but our eyes are forward on what's going to happen at the national championship and getting back into the Super 6.
Thanks so much, Dana. And let's go ahead and bring Brandy in here. Brandy, great preparation today for nationals, just as Coach was saying. But you told me that you really wanted to put together a complete performance in all events. How do you think you did that today?
I think I did awesome. It wasn't even score-wise, but I trusted myself and I trusted my routines, and my landings were there finally on all 4 events, and it was exciting to see that all come together.
I want to talk to you about that huge smile, almost laughing that you have on beam. What's your mindset as the leadoff on beam?
For me, I never thought that I'd be on beam, first of all. And so now that I'm in it senior year, my thing is just to be thankful every single time I get up there. And so every time I hit a skill, I'm just thankful, and that keeps the stress away and the nerves away, and it's just pure thankfulness. And it's exciting to be up there and be able to do it, even though I thought I never could.
You're going to be staying on with this team as the volunteer coach, and it's obvious that this team means so much to you. What is this experience like, just from that standpoint, knowing that you're going to continue on?
I think I've always wanted to know it, knew I wanted to coach, and I finally told Dana, I said, this is the level that I want to stay at. And so immediately she pulled me in, and we started making plans for next year. And so I think my experience as an athlete and being so fresh as an athlete is really going to help next year. Just, relate the coaches and the athletes all together and get us on one level.
All right, thanks so much, Brandy. Mary Beth, get over here, girl. Great, how are you? So let's talk about that floor routine. You were so performance-oriented, but you also had those minute details really focused in. What is your approach to floor?
My biggest approach is to really just have fun and trust my training. And in my training, I've been focusing on pointing my toes and my double pike and keeping my legs together in the double tuck. So those are really important. But really, my biggest thing is just have fun in what I'm doing. And I just love to perform, and I guess that just shows.
So much pressure on you in beam, and Dana told us you were a little upset about one little thing in the beam routine. But how did you bounce back from that, and how did her coaching help you there?
I guess through the years, she's really been able to, like, if she sees kind of a deer in the headlights look, she's able to tell me like a few words or something to get my mindset refocused. And after that tuck full, I just use her training, and it just, I mean, I'm kind of conditioned to do it now. So when I have that little mess up, I'm like, oh shoot, I have to refocus. And I think that's what I did to finish strong.
What's the key to the Michael Jackson moonwalking on beam?
The Georgia tradition. No, just a little pizzazz.
All right, thanks so much. And we'll throw it to the pizzazz man Bart over there.
Hey, that's 2 you got on me, Laura. Okay, what a great night for the Georgia Gym Dogs. And we're not done, folks, because tonight the 2016 SEC Gymnastics Championship continues at 6 Eastern when the top 4 seeds battle in the second session of these championships. It'll be on the SEC ESPN network. Make sure you tune in. Welcome back to North Little Rock. The final results for Session 1. Georgia has had a rocky season, but they were good enough tonight, 196.85, to set the mark. And Arkansas, Kentucky, and Missouri had the best scores in their history at the SEC Championship. So, Kathy, we saw a lot of great gymnastics tonight.
My cheeks hurt. I've smiled so much. I think it's the mom in me, the coach in me, the gymnast in me that's so happy to see the process work. You can tell the training was there, the preparation was there. They handled a lot of pressure. They worked through little mistakes. Yes, they were there, but they worked through them, and it will only build into the rest of the season. So it's great to see everything pay off for these athletes.
Oh, and then coming up later tonight, of course, we're going to have a thriller with 4 of the top 6 teams in the nation. I'm excited about that.
It's going to be huge and as tight as can be score-wise.
So be sure to join us tonight, 6 Eastern on the SEC ESPN network with the top 4 seeds, Florida, Alabama, LSU, and Auburn. They're going to battle it out in the second session of the SEC Gymnastics Championship, and that is going to be a thriller. So for Kathy Johnson-Clark and Laura Rutledge, I'm Bart Connor saying so long for now from North Little Rock, Arkansas. We'll see you at 6 p.m. on the SEC network.